Hey everybody, this is Matt. We're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for tuning in to another episode in our Neck Through online learning workshop. This is where we're going to end up today. But like I've always said, this is like one of them cooking shows. I did this one and then I'm going to show you how to do it on the other one. So if you'll remember, in the last video, I showed you guys how to make the thickness the same by running this through the thickness sander. Works like $100 million. You guys talked with me about it in the live stream. If you have any questions, please let me know and we'll try to get them answered. Today, what we're going to do though is we're going to make a fretboard for our neck through guitar. We're going to radius it and we're going to fret it and we're going to get it ready for glue. Okay, let me just tell you. Fretting a fretboard that is not attached is really nice because everything's flat and everything's nice. Now, you kind of got to get it right the first time, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So if you'll give me a moment here, I'll grab the other neck. Here is the other neck that we are going to be using today. It is possible, actually, that I could take that fretboard and put it on this neck, but then I'd have a neck with no fretboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how we did it. And the secret is these pinholes right here. So let me tell you what we're going to do first. First, we're going to drill some holes in our fretboard that match these holes. We're going to put some pins in our neck and index the fretboard onto the pins that way, Lego style, all right? At which point, we're going to draw around the perimeter of the neck onto the fretboard blank, which doesn't have any fret slots in it. And then we are going to rough trim that out on the bandsaw. Then we're going to go over to the router table and we're going to put it back on here. We're going to use this as a template. We're going to buzz the excess off. At which time, then we can put it on my fret slotting assembly and cut fret slots, and then take it over to the radius sander and radius it. There's a handful of other things we're going to do in the meantime, or in between some of those steps, but that's just kind of a broad brushstroke of what you can expect in this video. There's a lot to do, so let's get started. Tape. All right, gang, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our fretboard blank. This one is just over, it's about 5/16 thick, and we're going to put the same template onto our fretboard blank as we used for the neck, because we are going to drill the alignment pins, okay? And because our fretboard doesn't have any fret slots in it, it's really not a big deal, just as long as all this board fits onto this template, we're gonna be okay. All right, so I got 2 pieces of double stick tape on my template. I'm just gonna slap it on here. Okay, and there we go. Now we're going to go over to the drill press and drill some holes into our alignment pin locations, not all the way through, and then we'll be able to put some pins into our neck blank and snap our fretboard on Lego style, like I was just saying. All right, let's go over to the drill press. All right, now the trick is, like I said, to not go all the way through, right? But how deep should we go? In fact, the drill press has a stop on it. It might actually be really close to where we need it to be. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna go not quite halfway through, okay? Easy. Okay, so I've got my pin that I sized, and I put one into the alignment pin hole. Now what I want to do is trim it off so that there's just a little bit of it poking up. I actually take this ruler here and my pole saw and use the ruler as a height guide. Okay, and just kind of press them in there. Now, okay, what I want you guys to remember to do is to push the pins all the way into the holes that you have in your neck. Now, if it's okay if you don't, but what can happen is if you get something slightly misaligned when you go to put your fretboard on, it's possible to push the pin down into the hole the rest of the way. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can get this in here. All right, you see how not tall those are? They only need to be just a little bit poking up from the top. Okay, and like I said, you can try to not push these all the way down, but you will be, if you do push them all the way down, you won't have the, you won't ever have the issue where your fretboard actually ends up pushing the pins in the rest of the way, and then you lose the indexing advantage of the pin. Okay. Now what I'm doing now is I'm just chamfering these holes in my fretboard just a little bit to make locating the pins onto the holes a little easier. Now, having said that, it's still kind of a trick to get these guys to go on. Okay, come on, baby. So while I am struggling with this and talking at the same time, geez to Pete. I'm going to tell you that these next steps are going to go pretty fast. Come on now. I guess you probably got to make sure there's no little crap around the pins. But it is, you really got to, when you do these pins and you do these holes, you really got to make sure that you're actually getting the pins in the holes and not just mashing the wood of the pins. Okay, so I'm going to struggle with this, and the next time you see me, I'll have figured it out. All right, would you believe me if I told you that as soon as I turned the camera off, I got it to snap on in place? No? Okay. What I actually did was I used my brain and I traced around the template, and that kind of gave me a little bit of made sure I knew where I was going. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw around the neck, okay, because that's going to be I'm going to be using the neck as my template on the router to size my my fretboard perfectly, but I don't want to do that and cut off all this material with the router. I want to cut most of it off with the bandsaw. Okay, so man, I tell you what, this stuff. Let me see if can you see? It's hard to see that line. So let's go over to the bandsaw and let's trim this out as close as we can without touching the line. Of course, you got to hold it with your third hand. All right, after that wildly inappropriate use of how to hold a flashlight with your mouth, we're gonna double stick tape our template onto onto our, actually, no, wait. We're going to attach our fretboard onto our neck with some double stick tape, okay? Now, this should be a little easier because I've cut away a bunch of the, see, look at that. It's so easy, I even got it on the first try. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this tape off. The reason it's a little easier for those of you who are just joining us is a second ago, the fretboard was a great big square, and now it's mostly shaped like the neck, okay? Guys, I think you know all this stuff. I'm just telling you because I think, I'm trying to kill time, I think, in the, I hate dead air. All right, there we go. Now, a couple of things to remember. When you're attaching your fretboard to your neck and using the wood pins to do so, those pins are fairly soft, especially compared to rosewood and maple. And when you try to, mash them down on top of each other and you stand on top of the whole assembly to get the tape to stick, it's very easy to get it lined up incorrectly and just mash the pins, okay? So really make sure you got it lined up and everything's perfect. So we're gonna go over to the router table now and we're gonna buzz off all of this extra right here. Are we recording? I hate thinking I'm recording and then I'm not. All right, it's time for a little more double stick tape, a completely other template, but the same kind of thing applies. Now we're going to take our fretboard, which has the index pin holes, and we're going to attach it to my Stuart McDonald fret slotting guide, which I drilled a bunch of index pin holes in. And I'm actually having to stand it off with this piece of like 3/8 maple on top. And you'll see the pins actually come out of it because of the way my saw blade works. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach this fretboard to our, come on now, to our jig here. See, and now it's not going anywhere because the pins are holding it on. We're gonna double stick tape it on. Then we're going to use these notches in the string guide template and cut our fret slots. There's a bunch of stuff happening here. I get it. Try to stay with me, and we're gonna get through this, you guys. Building neck throughs is tricky, but I like this this style of fretting and getting my fret slots to match perfectly. So good that I use this on just about every other style of guitar that I do. Now sometimes I don't always do the fretboard individually. There we go. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll use this template here just attached to a guitar neck, and then cut my fret slots that way. But okay, let's whisk ourselves off to the radial arm saw and show you how that goes. Okay, there we go, 25 perfect fret slots. Matt, how come there's 25? Because this guy is our 0 fret. We're actually going to cut this part off, and that's going to be where our nut goes. You'll also notice things look a lot different down here than they normally do on a guitar. One of the things that we're going to do next is we're going to trim this down and make it look correct. We had to do this because this is all our neck would allow us to do, because our fretboard actually overhangs this little part of the guitar on the neck through SG. So I've got my little pole saw here. I'm just going to put it in the 0 fret location and saw through. Now I have a great big block inlay for something. Okay, so now my 0 fret is cut all the way through, so that's going to be where my nut resides. Now let's go clean this guy up. Actually, this guy and this guy. All right, because my fretboard has a level line, well, a straight line here and a straight line here, all I'm going to do is take my, my straight edge and put it right on the line, okay? And then I'm going to extend with a pencil the rest of the way. I'm going to see if I can show you. This is really, really dark lumber, okay? So you can see those lines there. I'm going to actually rough cut that with the bandsaw. I can also cut a bunch of this meat off here. I need to have probably about 1/4 of an inch on the after my 24th fret. So I'm going to trim this chunk off. This chunk here is going to go away. Then I'm going to clean up all of this stuff here. And we'll do that on the bandsaw. Okay, the end of our fretboard looks pretty close, but I still have a little bit of a bump here and a bump here. You could put this back on the router table and put a fence or you know, like a piece and buzz it out with a router with a flush trim bit. I think it's just as easy to go over to the edge sander and just make this part match this part and make this part match this part. I hate it when I say this and that. Make the rough sawn ends of the fretboard where like the 24, 3, 2, 1, 20, 19, 18th fret are, to extend the rest of the fretboard to those frets and make it nice and smooth transition. And I'm just going to do that by holding it up on the against the edge sander and kind of looking and following my the rest of my fretboard so that it I use that as a guide. Okay. So now the rest of my fretboard is nice and flat, and I don't have any of those weird bump outs again. Let's put this onto the neck, the maple neck blank, and see what it looks like. All right, so remember when this was a great big square and it was really hard to fit on there? Now it actually matches the contour of the neck, and this little chunk of fretboard that was shaped the same way as the neck here is. These are going to be where our cutaways start to originate from. But now look at that, guys. It looks like an actual neck. You know what I'm realizing as I'm watching myself do this? I still haven't done the 7-degree angle on the headstock. We should do that before we get too much further down the path. The next thing we're going to do with this fretboard, however, is we are going to put it on the radius sander and we are going to radius it. Then we're going to throw some frets in it, and we'll be almost as far along as we are on the other neck. But I forgot that I had already done the headstock angle on the other neck. But check it out, gang. As you can see, now I can put this fretboard onto the neck, and it won't come off very easily. It won't come off with side-to-side wiggle, okay? That's going to help us out when it's time to glue this dude down. Yeah, it's all thanks to these alignment pins in the neck template, which I've transferred over to almost everything on the guitar. All right, guys, if you're going to be doing this the way that I do it, you're going to need one of these swinging radius jigs. Okay, you don't need that, but that's the way I'm going to do it. I've got our fretboard is actually attached to our swinging radius arm jig here. I think you guys could just have to trust me that it's on there. And we're going to swing it back and forth. This is a 60 grit belt, then we're going to switch to a 150 grit belt, okay? By the way, if you wanted to do any face dots or inlay of any kind, now would be the time to do it before you radius. fretboard's looking great, guys. It's sanded to 150 and it's super smooth, and of course it's perfectly radiused to 12 degrees. Now, a couple of things I want to show you. You'll notice that my swinging arm fretboard radiusing apparatus, my fretboard's held on with a couple of pieces of double stick tape, but you know as well as I do that I even put some little index pins on that jig too, so I could get my fretboards on consistently and exactly the same every time. All right, I thought it was about time to get out of the dusty old wood shop and into the slightly less dusty workshop. So as you can see, here's the neck I showed you guys in the very first part of the episode with its fretboard, and here's the one that we did just now. I wonder, could we just put this guy on here and this guy on here? Yes, we can. Now, there's a handful of spots where they're not exactly the same. So at some point, you're going to have to, marry the board to the neck. And I think that time is now. So this neck and this fretboard go together, and this neck and this fretboard go together. Now, could you make it work? Yeah, you could. It looks like though, like right here, there's a little, I can get my thumbnail right there. Right here, I can get my thumbnail, which means that when I lined the templates up, they were close, but they were just a little bit like the center of this neck here and the center of this neck here, they're just a little tweak off. That's part of the beauty of doing stuff by hand, right? However, because the pins are all in the same spot, they'll plop right on there, okay? But the overhang is what I'm talking about, the profile of the neck. This profile of this neck is custom fit to this fretboard and so on with this guy here. So looking pretty good though, y'all. We could glue these fretboards on. This one we could glue on. We still need to do side dots. I need to do the angle on this headstock, and we need to fret this fretboard. I'm kind of running out of time today, so I think what I might do is in the next episode, go ahead and show you guys how to do the headstock angle and the tuner holes, how to press in frets, and then side dots, and then we'll glue them in. Now, hey Matt, how come you want to do side dots now? Well, if you don't do side dots when you can lift the fretboard off, one, you've got this extra meat right here that your drill bit's going to have to go through, but more important is this angle, this 2.5 degree angle right here. So if you simply pull the fretboard off and do the side dots without any extra meat or angles or anything like that, it's considerably easier. Not saying you can't do it, just saying that you don't want to. Okay. All right. So let's wrap it up. Well, what do you guys think? They're starting to look more and more like guitars every time, right? Remember when they were just great big blocks of wood? So hope that you're enjoying this series. I know that I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 neck through projects going in the shop right now. Ben bought one, Zoltan bought one, and if you guys want one, maybe I can make a deal with you too. Oh, I got some wing material. I was at the hardwood store the other day, and I got some wing material for this one. Remember this has the ambrosia maple, and it's kind of wabi-sabi. It's got some uniqueness to it. So I got some Purple Heart wings for this that are going to be heavy, but really, really cool. And I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this guy for wings yet. Maybe mahogany to match the stripe. That might be pretty neat. But let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Zoltan, Which one do you want? Let me know what you want on your guitar. You bought the damn thing. All right, guys. As always, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. You can hook me up on or hit me up on Patreon or YouTube. You can send me an email, or you can wait until the next Q&A session. I love doing the Q&A sections because one, it lets me know that you guys are watching these videos, and two, you get to interact with me and ask me specific questions, and we get to just hash them out right then. Hopefully that's working out for you guys. I hope it is. Let me know if it is. Let me know if it's not. So till next time, this is your old buddy Uncle Matt at Texas Toast telling you, I hope you have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you in a week or two.